Hello again, Alex here with Step by Step Music. In our previous lesson, we learned about inversions, about turning an interval upside down. Now we're going to take that lesson and apply it to the fretboard for bass or for guitar, any instrument tuned in fourth. So guitar players, stay away from the B string. Don't cross the B string. I'm going to show you my 6-string bass because it's got lots of strings and it's super fun to play. That way, again, we'll be tuned in fourths the whole way. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you an exercise so that you can build the muscle memory and kind of feed your brain these inversions so that they can become more meaningful to you as a pattern on the fretboard. Let's get right into it. Okay, so here are our patterns. And to keep this simple, I'm just going to do the major and the perfect intervals. Once you understand how to do those, you can flip and do minor, diminished, anything else that you want using the same sort of technique or the same philosophy. Anyhow, what I have here, I have a bunch of stuff on the screen, don't I? Let's zoom in and just take a look at one of these. Each one of these patterns is basically the same. It's just highlighted differently to show you the different intervals. What we have here is a 2-octave major scale. So just go ahead and let's take a second and just take that in. Let's make sure we orient ourselves and see the major scale. I see from 1 to 1 here. Of course, that would be 8. And this 1 I've colored red because we are going to see that as the beginning of our second octave for the second octave. So there's our 2 octaves from 1 to 1 here, and then again from 1 to 1 here, where I'm calling that one 8 because I'm pretty much stopping there. I'm not going to keep going. The red one is the one that we're going to be measuring from today. We're going to be thinking of that as our 1, and so our regular sort of regular place that we play a scale is going to be in the upper section here. And so the yellow notes are going to signify the root position or the regular standard intervals, and the blue notes, the blue highlighted numbers are going to signify the inversion or the note below. So the third below, the fifth below, etc. I said on this sheet that this is meant for the 5-string bass. Again, I don't care what instrument you're playing. Any instrument tuned in fourths, this is going to work for. I just call this a 5-string bass because traditionally they're tuned in fourths, and it makes it a lot easier. Doesn't really matter. We don't even need the whole 5 strings to produce this pattern. We're actually going to be looking at the lower half of the scale today. So let's take this as an example, this third. If I look at my upper scale, this is the one that we're going to think of as sort of we know already, right? I already know from 1 to 3, and that's going to be my third. But I want to think about what happens if I invert that third. What if I want the third that's below my octave? And that's another way to say that, by the way, is the third below. So if we are at 1 and we go up to 3, remember this way is going to be going up for us because we make higher notes as we go that way. As we go up to 3, that's a third. That's a distance of a third. But remember from our last lesson, if we take that 3 down an octave, that's considered an inversion. And so you can actually see the octave shape here, right, between the 2 3s, right? It's 2 over and 2 up. And so I go and I look back at that, the blue one's going to be my inverted pattern. And so this distance here, well, that does not look like the regular third that I know about. I know about the third that's, above, the one that's right here, the one that's 1 string over and then 1 fret back. So maybe I haven't really thought about other places to get my thirds, but look at that. There's another place to get your third. So if you're at this note, this 1, you could go back by 3 frets and then back by a string, down 3 frets, down a string. Well, that's also going to be a third of whatever chord you're playing, whatever key you're in, whatever scale, whatever the application is. If that red 1 is 1, that blue 3 is 3, but it's the 3 below. It exists below. Let's look at the piano just to really clarify this. Again, if I put this in C, because it's C, it's a piano, let's do this in C. If C is 1 and E is my third, well, then that's my third above that C. But I have an E way down here, and of course that is the inversion. If C is 1, E is now 3, but we're taking the third below. So you could think of it as the third below or the interval of a major third that's been inverted. I don't really care. As long as you're thinking about it, I'm happy. And of course, because I'm very thorough, I included the other major imperfect intervals here as well. So you can see I can go up to the second there, or I can go down to the second here. And of course, that pattern is going to change, right? When you invert an interval, unless it's a tritone, it's never the same as the interval that you started with once you flip it upside down. Okay, here's my bass. Let's go ahead and play through an A scale. I'm starting on the 5th fret of my E string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is where we're starting. We're starting at 8 because remember, we're thinking about the distance from 8 down, back to whatever that interval was. And so I'm going to start just by playing through these and just getting comfortable with them. And then I'm going to put some drums on and I will explain the exercise that I have in mind for you. Okay, so if this is 1, this is 7, right? You might think of this as 1 and this is 7. Ooh, listen to that 7. Ooh, that is dark. So I want you to know that pattern, right, from 1 to 7, but I want you to be able to think of it backwards. I want you to be able to think of the inversion of that pattern as well. So if this is 1, this is 7. If this is 1, this is 6. It's an F sharp. If this is 1, this is 5. It's my E. If this is 1, this is 4. 1 to 3. Again, taking all these notes below. 1 to 2. And then 1 to 1. Okay? So here's the exercise. I call this a reverse climbing scale, which the concept is you're going to play the 1 and you're going to play the note below the 1. So 1 to 7. And then you're going to play 1 and 6, and then 1 and 5. You can do this exercise the other way around, by the way. You can go from the bottom, play 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. It's a great exercise, great for developing that dexterity, looking for odd fingering positions and whatnot. But we're going to do the reverse of that. We're going to descend through this scale because, again, we're thinking of these intervals below. So let's get some drums going. There's my drums, sitting there at about 120. Got kind of a funky beat going on today because I'm feeling funky. And I'm going to grab my A again, get that A wherever you're getting your A on your instrument if you're playing along. And I'm going to play 1 and 7, 1 and 6, 1 and 5, all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just hit that octave at the end just because it rounds out the timing. So that's the idea. Let's go ahead and say the numbers as we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play as slow as you need to. Don't play fast if you're not ready for this. I'm just showing you what the process is going to be like. So let's do it a different way. Let's actually have a little bit more fun with this. And because playing bass should be fun, playing guitar should be fun, right? I mean, even if you're doing exercises, you should still be having a good time with it. At least that's my theory. So I'm going to get those drums going again, and I'm going to just kind of play a little bit more of a funky beat. I'm going to stay with each interval for a little bit more time this time. Same idea, same exercise. You'll see the difference. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that time I'm just having a little bit more fun with it. I actually stayed with each interval for a full 4 beats. You can do, again, whatever you like. Always take my exercises and redesign them to fit your own needs. Slow down the tempo. Don't use drums if you're not ready to be held to a timing standard. If you're just going through this for the first time and this is completely new to you, then you will likely want to go through it much more slowly. But again, I'm doing it a little bit faster, kind of giving you something to shoot for and showing you how much fun we can have as we're learning our intervals below or our inverted intervals. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of what the patterns of inverted intervals look like on the fretboard. And again, it just gives you sort of a different way to think about them, thinking of them not necessarily as inversions, which sounds very scary and complicated, but really just thinking of it as the note below. I'm at a C, I want the 5th. The 5th is G. Where is that G but below the C that I'm starting on. If you have questions or comments, please take advantage of the comment section, and I will try to get back to you and answer all of your questions. If you're a little bit lost in this lesson, or if you need more help on intervals in general, be sure to check out my lesson series, Intervals in Music, and hopefully that'll answer all of your questions. My name's Alex. You can find me at stepbystepmusic.com, and thank you for watching. What was that? Muscle memory.